Valley Streetz is the nation's first harm reduction program to include healthcare services side by side with harm reduction services at their weekly clinic. This short video will introduce you to some of the people who make the work that Valley Streetz does possible. Thank you.
If I could talk to policymakers directly, I would love to tell them that this work is exciting, it is a great investment, and it saves money for the community. You know, you got to kind of speak their language, and policymakers, rightfully so, have a budget in mind and a bottom line and have to worry about, paying for community resources. And we know, one, from a lot of data, that harm reduction saves a lot of money, but in particular, it keeps people out of the hospital.
In the United States, we are facing an unprecedented opioid epidemic that is claiming tens of thousands of lives each year. According to the CDC, there were 80,000 drug overdose deaths in 2024, with half of those coming from the synthetic opioid fentanyl. Other drugs, including benzodiazepines, methamphetamine, and other stimulants, also continue to pose a significant health threat to our community, despite receiving significantly less media attention. Drug use across the spectrum is associated with the transmission of diseases such as HIV and viral hepatitis C, as well as other physical and mental health complications. Treatment for substance use disorder is often cost prohibitive and difficult to access for those that need it most. And sometimes, people just aren't ready or able to stop using drugs. Harm reduction is one way to bridge this gap. The National Harm Reduction Coalition defines harm reduction as a spectrum of strategies aimed to reduce the harms associated with drug use, including safer use, managed use, and respecting the rights of people who use drugs.
Again, I think stigma shows up in people's lives by they are, perceived a certain way, whether they're not, freshly showered or they are seemingly unhoused. A lot of people think that they shouldn't interact with them, that they're dangerous, that they're dirty, and it's really just people are being held down by so many systems that we all believe in and pay into. So that's one of the biggest things that I think follows people is just they're not being worthy of decency. And then for me as a provider, I honestly don't see a lot of it because of what I do on the team. Because what I provide as a service is something that people are always really thankful for, and I do it for a wider range of folks, not just those who are unhoused or that use drugs. So for me, I think aside from my other providers that I work with, I get more pats on the back than anybody, and that's something though that I try to use to my advantage. When I have somebody praising what I do, I say, okay, well, let me tell you about harm reduction.
As Valley Streetz, we not only work out in the street medicine setting, we also staff several clinics as Valley Streetz providers around town, and we also do inpatient consulting, addiction medicine specifically consulting. And when we see patients in the hospital, they are really sick. These are people who probably should have come to the hospital, weeks ago, and because of the stigma and the fear of being judged, either because it's happened so many times to them in the past or they have heard, how traumatic, medical providers can be, specifically the emergency room setting. They wait, and they're really sick. And when people are really sick, when they come in, they stay in the hospital a lot longer. They need more specialty care and consulting.
Stop stereotyping. If they come in, don't, and I see it all the time, red flag of medication seeking, they're done, they're not worth it, they're just wasting our time, they're going to get up and leave making assumptions. Behaviorally, psychologically, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. When we get into that belief of we know them, then it's as if they think they know them personally. Now you know them as a client, whether they're seeking or not, and there's more beyond that. There's certain looks of our population that right out the gate gets them no services. And then there's that, oh, okay, this is a new face, we got to offer it, but then there's no follow through. Well, if they really want it, then they'll come for it. But when we make it so difficult that they can't get to it, or we stigmatize that when they come in that they're going to have to jump through hoops to prove that they're sick like that, there's ways to do that other than labeling it right off the bat. At some point, everybody changes. So you have to, if they come in under the assumption, maybe this time could be. Maybe if you empowered yourself to be equipped with the information and resources where they could go versus just putting off a medication seeking AMA, there would be a difference. They're still human beings, and your oath is to cause no harm. And when you do those things, you're causing harm.
And the discharge plan is really complicated. You know, people having to go to skilled nursing facilities instead of just simply being discharged. And so if you can give people a safe place in the community to access medical care, which Valley Streetz does, you know, coming in early for a wound, coming in early for an infection, like a urinary tract infection, and getting treated, that's really costly if people end up in the hospital because those services were not provided. So policymakers really need to know that not only is harm reduction a good investment to the community because it's the right thing to do to treat people with non-judgmental, you know, attitudes and without stigma, but it saves a lot of money. So that's what I would say. As far as if I could talk to medical providers directly about harm reduction, which I do, that's a big part of the job, is this will be a game changer for the way that you practice medicine. It will bring the humanity back in medicine.
Common strategies for reducing drug use harms include increasing access to the opioid reversal drug naloxone, providing clean use supplies, and offering syringe service programs. Valley Streetz Harm Reduction is a local nonprofit that seeks to fulfill the need for harm reduction services in Stanislaus County by providing services such as naloxone distribution, a syringe service program, general hygiene supplies, and health care.
Again, I work with a lot of diversity of people. People that their jobs or professions depend on anonymity. You think about your child when you came to me, to us, who got those services, and you know that they got them, and yet you won't acknowledge that. And you're a part of the problem. When you're a policymaker in a small town with big money, that's a voice that should be speaking.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with people watching this video to help them better understand harm reduction?
Find your local harm reduction team. Do some work. Look at it for what it is and come out. Make an appointment. There isn't any hide with us. You come out and want to volunteer, we'll put you to work. Come and see. If you've been affected either by the addiction yourself or impacted by somebody that you know or love, this is a good resource for you. The more diverse that our team is and the providers and people that are out there doing that, the more people that we can reach.
When somebody believes that harm reduction enables drug use, I try to educate them the best I can, and kind of like saying that, you know, food banks enable poverty. Like, it's a need that people have, and that I also try to talk about the root of drug use, which is trauma, and how we all kind of have that, our own version of trauma in our lives from our past. And it's just not everybody can handle it the same way. Just like we all don't have the same size plate to be able to take things on. Everybody comes from a different situation. And so it doesn't enable that. I try to teach people that it doesn't enable drug use, but it allows them to get to a point where they're ready to move on and to do that safely so that they can make it through the biggest struggle of their life.
Biblically, God says he sends out warriors before us. for the things that rise up against us. That's what I think harm reduction is. We're warriors. So somebody's got us out there at some point, and now us going back into the areas that we do with the populations that we do. That isn't stigma for me anymore. That's life-saving. You know, it's if it's not your kid, it could be another relative. But if we stop hiding behind addiction being the secret and the worst of that, you're only perpetuating the addictions of the people that you know. Be in disbelief until you see it yourself. The same way with hearing it. Come out, find out for yourself.